Welcome to Lena. So Lena is from the popular music production YouTube channel LNA Does Audio Stuff.
It's
and
called LNA Does Audio Stuff.
Oh, LNA Does Audio Stuff. Thank you for the correction. And co-founder of Equalize, which delivers courses and workshops in music production, songwriting and performance. And Lena is also an artist and producer in her own right. How was that for an introduction? Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, that it's Equalize Music Production, the whole name of it.
Equalize Music Production.
that's a good introduction. Thank you. Nice.
That's okay. So I'm Jenny from the Vochlea Team. Welcome to everyone who's watching. But thanks, Lena, for taking the time to chat with us today. And congrats on smashing through 21k subscribers on your YouTube channel.
Thank you.
How are you feeling about that? How does it feel?
Oh my god, it's pretty crazy to the past couple of years, to be honest. YouTube and everything, like we started chatting just when I kind of started doing it, and I probably had like 1,000 subscribers or something when we kind of got to know each other. And
I think you had 5,000 subscribers when we started chatting.
Okay.
Yeah, because
so
you just hit that milestone.
Yeah, and it's to have now 21, and it's like growing quite fast, and all these things that are happening because of it and with it. It's crazy, but it's nice. And it's nice to see progression and everything that my channel represents. I'm also happy about that because represents diversity.
Yes. Yes, we love that. Okay, so we're going to talk about the idea of leveling up today. And actually, Lena pointed out that it probably needed a bit of a description. So when we're talking about leveling up, if you're not sure what that means, it comes to my knowledge from early computer games. Like if you think about Super Mario, when he would kind of punch one of the blocks and get a little reward and take the reward in, either eat it or whatever, and then suddenly would gain like a skill, or he'd get bigger, or he'd gain a life. And it's the idea of like when you're leveling up, you're tooling up, you're gaining more skills, you're kind of expanding, getting bigger, getting better. So we're going to talk about that concept today. So first question, what do you feel like leveling up means for you in this point in your career right now?
Oh, so much. I feel like it's actually been one of those questions I've had. So I feel like there is stages, right? So when I started up, it was the stage figuring out, having big passions, like big dreams, and like working super hard towards all these dreams. And then comes to the point where they start taking over. These dreams become true, and they become part of your life, and they're not dreams anymore. You quit your part-time jobs and you quit your full-time jobs, and suddenly you're doing it full-time. And that's the next level. I think that's been like the next level. Right. Then it becomes the second level, which is like figuring things out, doing it full time, doing too much, trying to do everything at the same time, burning out. And then kind of like just like navigating your way into an industry that it's an actual massive industry with rules and with ideas and with connections and with people that already been in the industry for a long time. And then you come there as a YouTuber, and you're like, how does this work? Especially as a music industry. And now I feel like I'm entering to the third level of my career and taking everything I learned before and now making it something like functional, something that's sustainable, something that is not only anymore me in my room just working super hard, like having these big ideas, but making these big ideas now something like actual, like something concrete, something, a brand, which sounds also businessy, but that's what it needs to be done so that you can make anything happen. You need to start thinking it as a business, and now that's where I got a manager, I got things like started to roll out. And
congrats.
I think that's what it means to me right now, is this kind of like, now it's going to be like a Lena 2.0 type of situation, or LNA 2.0 is happening.
LNA beta version.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's what's happening right now in my life.
It sounds like you've hit a real stride in terms of your understanding of what you do, because you know, music industry and audio industry, like we do treat them like separate industries. And they have separate like priorities, and you kind of map them slightly differently, but they have so much overlap and interaction. And
Oh
so
my God.
you end up occupying that sort of that new frontier, that gray area.
Yeah. And it's not even that. It's like I find that I have 5 sections of my career right now. So I have my music, me and as an artist, my YouTube. I'm writing a book. I am a speaker, educator, someone who is getting maybe more into like trying to motivate people, trying to like all this kind of speaking, and then all the other things, which are Patreon, merch, all the other like stuff on the background, which is almost passive, but it still exists constantly. It needs to be, well, Patreon is not passive, it's very active actually, but it's all those things like, and yeah, social media generally is also like massive part. So it's connects so many industries in so many ways.
It's really helpful to hear you describe it in those ways, and the fact that like there's multiple income streams, but it all works cohesively and interacts with each other.
I count it. I have about 15 income streams.
Well, actually, you've made some videos for us at Vochlea before.
I have.
Using the Dubler. Hooray, hooray. Woo! There it is. Wonderful. And they're so good.
Love the packaging.
It's very slick, isn't it? Yeah, so we love it too.
And this is my favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a certain like a pressure point here.
Yeah. So how do you feel that using the Dubler has helped you to level up in any particular way?
I think using it has given me a lot of new tools to kind of figure out, couple levels. I think there's a creativity and kind of figure out that actually for me as an artist, it's really important, like physical contact with items is very important as a musician. Just because I'm classically trained, I'm very like, you know, I grew up with piano and violin and stuff, and I feel like having an actual concrete thing and then using my body to impact these sounds, which what Dubler does is that you make a sound, and because of that impact, something happens on your computer. So it comes from you naturally, and I think it's a very organic process. And that's why I like using Dubler, especially together with Push2. And I even wrote my master's dissertation about like human computer interaction and how is Push2 example helping people with creative flow. And I think Dubler is one of very good examples of that creative flow and how you can like increase it with so many aspects, like how it's helping your creativity in many ways. So I think that, and also working with Vochlea has been very fun to me, because like I made one of my, it has over 6,000 views now on my channel, a video where I made a MIDI controller using pots and pans and triggering the pots and pans as a drum kit with Dubler. Studio kit, and it's something that most people refer to me straight away because it's the first video you can see on my channel, and I want to keep it there because it's just fun, it's very creative, and it's just, I think, represents a lot who I am as a producer. And I also think that for us to do that video together was really good for just showing how creative you can become, like using something like Dubler.
We loved that video. Like it's I think because it just falls so heavily into the company's ethos of wanting to take things outside of the box, pun intended. And we just love it when people take a tool and are willing to not just have it fit into their workflow, because obviously to a certain extent that's what everybody wants, and so not every producer wants in particular, but also is willing to explore and to experiment and say, okay, what can I do with this?
Yeah. And you know what, I did also a social media post. I need to actually post it again because I did like an orchestral piece where I then took Dubler and I wore my husband's suit, and I came into the studio and I was like, did like an orchestral solo we use in Dubler, but then
Oh yeah, the flute thing.
the flute. And I was like,
Yes.
actually go. So I was playing this like flute solo. But the issue is that people didn't understand that the microphone was that making the sound, that the flute sound.
Right.
So it was slightly confusing, like interaction. But then people who understood it, it was like super funny. But I had so much fun like creating that with Dubler, because I was like, I can be a person in an orchestra. I can have a flute solo. I was like very serious, like nod and
I mean, honestly, more orchestra stuff, please, because we actually get asked quite a lot about like, can it control orchestral plugins? And we're always saying yes, yes. And we've created some of that content ourselves. So yeah, the more the merrier. It is brilliant. I think you touched on this a bit already, but how do you feel like you've leveled up in the past 12 months? Like, do you reckon you could give an
I
example?
think it's definitely that like personal journey. I think it's a lot of industry is just telling how to, like, it's introduced a lot to like beginners, showing all the opportunities, like you can become this or you can become this, but actually going through that journey by yourself and like in corona times in your own room, you know, from home through internet, and going to become a professional in that time, it's the personal journey which can be quite tough. I think it's more the personal journey of mental health and figuring things out so you're not dreaming anymore, okay? Because you learn to just dream all your childhood, all your early 20s. You're just about dreams and what you want to become. And then you become what you wanted to become, but nobody tells how to handle with that. And I think that leveling up is been very interesting process as an adult and as a professional now in the industry, is that actually there's not much guidance for someone who has a certain leveling up like in the industry, who's done some, like who's now doing it and not anymore like constantly just trying to make a career. But when you have the career, what happens then? Like, who helps you then? Who's there to give you advice on what's the price point on brand deals? Who helps you to understand contracts? Who helps you with any of that? And I think that's leveling up. That's also then understanding, oh, you need to help yourself. and you also need to connect, and also you need to find peers like who can help you. So example, I created a WhatsApp group for women who do audio YouTube, and we have a chat where we're like, oh, they offered me this much, should I accept it, or what's the price point? So example, that kind of stuff is like, you need to figure it out for yourself, and you need to actively find places where you can understand that what your personal leveling up is.
It sounds like your leveling up is like you hit a certain point of recognizing your own agency to sustain yourself and to seek out your solutions.
So it's not actually about followers, it's not about views, it's about understanding your own worth. And I think that's the leveling up. That's such a good point, actually. That's it. So because it's not like I'm massive, it's not like I have like millions of followers. I have thousands, but not millions of followers on YouTube. But I was going to say thousands, and there was like, I actually do have, but like, but it's not like I'm any of like Andrew Huang's or even Rachel K. Collier's, who are like, I feel like they are like many levels up from me, like way somewhere that I don't understand. But I think I'm just in the like entry level of actually being the professional. That's so true, that it's not about views or those, it's the fact that I can be sustainable with this now. I still count money with rents. I'm like, how many rents is this job? I'm still in that level, but now I earn better than I earned when I was in a, you know, part-time job in gear for music, you know, like it's still, it's a level up from that. And also I'm doing something that I love instead of being a gear music.
So, which brings us on to no, it's fine. How do you feel like you want to level up in the next 12 months?
I actually just had a meeting about this, and
cool.
So I have a list of stuff that I want to do. But I think for me, I've come to the point where I feel now confident enough that I can request headspace. I can demand that from myself and anyone who I work with. I can demand the right for myself to have space, to have hobbies, to have
Yes.
social life, to be constantly stressed. I can ask that for myself. And I think that is the biggest leveling up I can do ever on anything
Yeah.
is to have headspace and work with people that I like working. I will be working many people with, and hopefully with you all, Vochlea people, and
Yes.
and I think that's the stuff I want to concentrate in, working on things I love. And I think I come to the point now where I can do that. I think one of those points is I want to make more music. I am starting to do live performance more, hopefully doing more gigs as well. I want to take the YouTube videos into the more direction that, like, I have so many ideas and visions for those. It's just so many like things that I'm like, I've now done the bases, and now it's like, so how can we make it better?
How can you build on it?
How can I build on it? And also, how can I talk about mental health more, and how can make sure that my mental health is dealt with?
Is doing well. If you're doing better, then you're going to perform better. You know, it feels like a no-brainer, but for a lot of people, I think it's a real shift in mental culture to start prioritizing that. So good for you for making that leap now. I think it's very important that you do.
And creativity, like giving yourself the fact that, you know, ironically, I'm a musician, but then I always prioritize everything else above my music making.
Right. But you're doing that less now. You're giving music a bit more space.
So much more. Like,
Yay!
I have so many new songs coming in. Like, I do live streaming now on LNA Does Streaming Stuff. And I do that every Wednesday. And that's been a really positive thing for me. It's 6 p.m. UK time. And
is that on Twitch?
It's Twitch and YouTube, both.
Okay, cool. We'll drop links in for like all the stuff that we've discussed today.
We can always make one episode about this. Who knows? But it's just me just taking the time to create.
I was going to ask you actually, because you mentioned that you're doing more live performances in your live streaming. Do let us know if you're using the doubler in those settings, because so much of what people have been doing with doubler has been studio based, and we feel like we're discovering with other people what the doubler is capable of. So
I actually have been using it in a live performance. I think there was 2 videos on my YouTube channel with me using it in live performance, or is it 1 or 2?
That's awesome.
I feel like it is definitely in my live performance kit.
Right.
Like
awesome.
It's in that, like, I'm now starting to practice for the next year. I'm starting to practice a set of new songs and new style. I'm kind of going for a more housey vibe. So I have a lot more danceable songs. And what I like using Dubler for is, because it's more visible, instead of finger drumming on a stage, it's more visible to do the rhythm with Dubler. So I really like that more for a live performance, because you can go, you know, I'm not really good at beatboxing at all, but it doesn't matter. Like, really, with Dubler, it doesn't really matter. Like, I have 3 sounds that I can do comfortably. So I have put those in, registered those into the Dubler, like the app. So then that's why I always click the same like profile. It's just those 3 sounds. So then I can go always back and be like, those are the sounds I can.
Yeah, I love that as well. The fact that you can create different profiles means that I have like one profile for when I'm using Logic, one profile for when I'm using Ableton. Like, you know, being able to develop those particular projects and for those particular styles of DAW, I think is really helpful.
Yeah, and I thought just now, because I'm starting to build my live performance rack and stuff, then basically you can have those for like each live performance. You can have your own profile on the play.
Yeah, I love that.
Thank you for the idea.
That's okay. Our pleasure. Okay, well, last question then before you go. How would you like to see others leveling up at this time?
One biggest thing that I've done for myself in the last years is just committing to your dream and committing to effort. And I think if you have an idea and you really believe in that idea, whatever it is, if it's local, if it's internet, is it whatever it is, commit to it. If you are scared of how is it going to turn out, I think the best thing you can do for yourself is don't tell anyone that you're starting it. because the biggest buzz killer is other people and their fears reflecting to you. So don't ask validation, because when I started my YouTube channel, and honestly, starting it was the best thing I have ever done for my career. Like, and you know, I've been posting once a week for 2.5 years. Every week, I'm not lost 1 week. So I committed, and I didn't ask anyone. I didn't tell my friends, my family, even my husband didn't know in the beginning that I'm starting a YouTube channel, because I was like, I felt so powerful about the idea. I was like, this is so freaking good idea that I want to do it. And if I'm going to tell about that, then their reaction, it can be even just like subtle, you know, like nod or like, that sounds interesting. It can be that kind of things that just like make you think, oh, I'm so stupid. Why did I even think I could do that? So best thing is that don't ask validation. Just like, if you have an idea and you cannot stop thinking about it, just freaking do it, commit to it, and tell that that's your job. Have that already on your CV and put that in there. Like, I am a whatever it is. You put that on CV the day one, and you are like, this is who I am now. And then you're committed and you just keep on doing it. I said I was a YouTuber when I had like 50 followers. I was like, yep, I'm a YouTuber.
That's awesome. I love that. You basically like announce you're leveling up and then just become it. That's amazing.
Exactly. Yes. Just, like, that's why some people say that they hate fake it till you make it. But I think about it in a positive way that way. Yeah. How would Beyonce do it? Beyonce wouldn't be like, I don't know, you know, like, I need to ask mom. like, you know, like, no, she would just be like, I don't care. Like, she would just put something amazing on, whatever she feels comfortable, and she would just rock it. And she just announces, I am now this.
Yes, love that. That is such an empowering note to end on. Amazing. Well, we'll be so excited to see you continue to level up, Lena, and we're really
excited to see all you to level up.
Yeah, let's do it. And we're really looking forward to, you know, whatever we work with you on next in the future. So, but yeah, thanks so much for your time, and we'll see you soon.